Everybody, we are one.
Welcome to the Hughes Roundtable. Everybody. I'm Michaela Hughes.
I'm Michael Hughes.
And I'm Nina Hughes.
We welcome you guys. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We have a great show for you guys today. We thank you guys for watching, for continuing to support us, and passing the information along. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, we're gonna. This episode is about. It's a tag along to whom much is given, much is required. So we named this episode "Much is Required" in your everyday living and in your walk with Christ. There's some things that are going to be required. We have a lyric alert. Nina's going to read it by Michaela Music.
I want to be more low, want to be honest, want to be closer to God. I want to be more low, want to be honest, want to be closer to God. Yeah, life can get so lonely, and the narrow roads lonely and hard, living in so low, and there you go closing your heart.
That's Michaela Music. Molo, right?
Yeah.
Molo. And that's what we want to talk about. Having the humility to accept your assignment and the requirements that come along with your assignment. Nina, what does that mean to you? To whom much is given, much is required.
Well, for me, if you are living for God, and this is for me personally, a lot of things go on the back burner for yourself because you do make plans, and sometimes the Lord steps in and how you thought something was going to work out doesn't work out that way. So you have to learn that, and I have learned that His requirements sometimes aren't always what you think that they are. But then you have to stop and ask Him if what I am doing for you is what I am supposed to be doing, even though I have my own ideas about how everything is going to work out or how I have planned it out, then the more of it is the requirements of Him. So I have to say, well, okay, because you see everything in its entirety, then I have to go with God because He's not going to make any mistakes. He doesn't make mistakes. So that's a lot for a human being because it's a heavy weight.
Yeah.
And then you have to be able to line up with what He wants from you and say, okay, this is the road that I choose to take.
Yes.
So it's weighty.
Yeah. It is weighty, the requirements. Y'all know we love lyric alerts here. I got a quote to sum that up what Nina was talking about. It's kind of long, so bear with me. At the end of the day, your requirement is your requirement, not someone else's. You can't put what God requires of you on someone else. It just isn't going to fit with them. God is so sovereign that He made you your own requirement for the task at hand, with your own unique individual self. So be very, very careful with your own demands on your life. Manage your own requirements. We're taking this out of Luke 12:48, where Jesus was talking about the master and the servant, and they're giving them talents, and Jesus was telling the parable about he squandered, the servant squandered what the master left him in charge of. You know what I'm saying? Requirements are a beast because they keep mounting. And Jesus said that when man gives you something, he then turns around and entrusts you and puts more demand on you and gives you more requirements. That's true. The more you go and walk into your life, and the more you do God's bidding, you walk this life out, people are going to see. They're going to pay attention. And they're going to start, oh, so you're a good worker. Mm-hmm. Well, let me, since you can do that, then let me start giving. It's just that simple. It's real simple. Yeah. How did you find that to be true, Michaela? What is funny up in here now? You're finding out I think we all are as a family. We are the most busy. You would think with the climate and the world we're living in now, you would think that we would not be busy. But we are wore out almost to the point that, tell me what you think.
I'm just thinking about requirements and how as humans we handle dreams sometimes so carefully that we miss parts of it, and we miss maybe how to manage having visions. It's easy to have a vision, but hard to work with people. People are hard to work with.
Which is one of their requirements.
Yeah. Like you can't, so many people, we do things for people at the end of the day, whether you're doing it to capitalize off of it for revenue, or whether you're doing it as a volunteer, you are doing it for people. There wouldn't be a reason to do it if people weren't here. So we can't take that part for granted. Like, you can't be a bad leader and to the people around you, your members, and the people you, for lack of a better term, answer to, but then go out here and preach to people about what they should be doing with their lives, or providing things for them. So it's, I think, something that always has to be carefully handled and just managed well, because if you are a visionary, it's easy to be passionate. At least for me, that's not the hard part. The hard part is, being consistent and growing, and what do you say when a person does this or doesn't do this? The things you didn't want, that's what requirements are, responsibilities.
Right.
You didn't want, you hire people to do a job for you, and maybe they don't do it well enough to your standards. And how do you handle that as a leader? How do you handle people how do you be a follower as a leader? There are people who are great at what they do and may have more experience than you, so it's, something I think, you're in the business of people. If you have a business or a dream of any kind, you are giving to people, whether you like it or not, whether you own a restaurant or a nonprofit, you no matter what your goal was originally, you're doing it for people, and you have to be mindful of that and be kind to people, and handle people well. And that is a muscle in itself, because, like, again, you can have terrible people who have no management skills and don't handle things the way you want to. And you can have great workers that'll stay with you for 10, 20 years. It's about how you handle it when you are required to work with people, even though that wasn't, people rarely talk about that in the scope of their vision when they're planning things. That's a given that it's for people, but it's like, I would prefer to be well.
I'm not sure that they even talk about the requirements at all.
No.
Because most of the time people say that I want to act, for instance. That's just an example. But I don't want to go on the interviews to promote the movie and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No.
Let me read another quote. We got some quotes. We've some quoting people. The idea of to whom much is given, much will be required is that we are held responsible for what we have. If we are blessed with talents, wealth, knowledge, time, and the like, it is expected that we use these well to glorify God and benefit others. It is easy to assume that only wealthy people have been given much. But in truth, we have all been given much. We have been granted the abundant grace of God, the Word of God, and the gifts of the Holy Spirit. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. And we know that the great giver, God, El Shaddai Almighty, gave Jesus life. And what did he do? His only requirement, puts a big smile on my face, his ultimate sacrifice, his one requirement was to die for humanity. That's his only requirement. He came to die. His only requirement. That was. So, Nina, in our marriage, we have been given the spirit of unity and together. Let me tell y'all something. Nobody has broken this unity up between, not even me and her, have broken the unit of marriage that we have between one another, because one of the things, and I think it's the biggest, is that we do what requires from me to her to me. We take our marriage vows seriously.
Yes.
As much as to our ability.
Yeah.
Nina probably does it better than me because he saw it. It was an example in her life. And I believe that her mother and her whole side of her family was paying it forward because they understood the requirements of being married. Just about every woman in her all of the women in her family are married and been married a long time. Mm-hmm. So tell me the things that you have been given and you're grateful, and what makes it easier for you to do the requirements that comes along with all the gifts that you've had.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned, being married and seeing that, and by the way, you have done a fabulous job not having the role model of seeing it right there where you were. But yeah, listen, because remember that Bishop Tillman and Bishop Frazier and the First Ladies was talking about that. How do you become what you want to be without seeing it? How do you do that? They're talking about marriage right now on Wednesdays. And I have the opportunity to see it. So because it's right in front of me, well, then automatically I'm going to want to mimic it. Because it was something that you've seen love and affection coming out of it. Things that were good, that were wholesome. And then plus it being my parents.
Right.
How am I viewing them to say this is not what I don't want? So,
the humility piece would make you do the requirement. Therefore, that's why Molly's song is so good. More low. You have to have humility.
You have to humble yourself.
You say,
Yeah.
that's why we read that piece.
There's no other way to accomplish.
You ain't gonna stay married if you don't.
No.
Some kind of way.
No.
Whether it was shown to you or not.
No.
But we have who we are trying to be an example for. Okay? And the requirement is the requirement.
If you want to please God in what He has given to you, and though we're human, I can only imagine Jesus wanting to please the Father the way that He did.
Yeah.
Dying. And then saying, not my will, but your will be done. And you have to be humble to be able to do that, because God has given us our right to choose what we want to do.
Right.
Whether good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
But when you humble yourself, there's something about how he energizes you to be able to go forth and make his purpose and gifts that he has given to you to not be a failure. Though we stumble and we fall and we make mistakes, we're still victorious.
But somebody would say, what did you say,
You're
Michaela?
acknowledging. I think that's the difference between acknowledging, living a life of acknowledgement and not. You acknowledge your role. You acknowledge the people around you. I mean, there are people who live their lives and it's just kind of like, whatever I feel like doing, I don't care about what people think. And that would be great, but that's not realistic. And humbleness has an element of just acknowledging people, acknowledging what you have, the gifts you have, and how you give them to people. Jesus acknowledged all kinds of people. I mean, at the very least, on top of all of the fruits of the Spirit and, the spirit of love, you have to acknowledge yourself and your role that you play in life and how you give yourself to other people,
It's just not easy.
No.
Because some would say that the task is easy, but really you're doing it for the love of Christ and for the love of humanity. It may look easy for an outsider looking in, but Jesus even said it wasn't going to be easy. But his reward is sitting at the right hand of the Father now, interceding still for humanity. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
The requirements. I wanted to talk about what it takes to do and be and walk with God and do your dreams and visions and just getting up going to work. It ain't easy. It's not easy. Michaela has a lyric alert. This lyric alert is by Lowell Powell. This lyric alert is called Patiently Praising.
I won't let the circumstance or the evidence stop me from raising my hands to you. That's how I go through. Lord, I'm patiently praising you. No matter how long it takes, I'll never give up my praise. So while I wait, I'll be patiently praising you until fade.
Yeah. Amazing. The requirements it takes to be and do. It can get heavy.
Yeah.
It can weigh on you. It takes a lot, man. Stay prayed up and stay praised up. It takes a lot. Whatever you see, people, the Bible tells us that when you endure and these things, it works out. If you persevere and endure, this stuff works out your patience and it teaches you how to be patient and go. And then when you continue to give, it's no surprise to you.
Right.
And then all you do is continue to give back out.
Right.
You just continue to give back out. And he will blow your mind and keep giving you things that he wants you. See, the more he keeps giving, and there is nothing that you can do with God giving you and giving to you. Giving not just material things, giving you peace. Oh, how we need peace now. We need peace to do what he has called us to do. Most of the people in the Bible were required to do a lot for the Lord because he knew. What's your favorite scripture? When he said we are sheep.
Oh, for going to the slaughter daily?
Yeah,
Is that what you talking about?
we are laid up as sheep going to the slaughter for daily. So when you think, if you just want to just think about giving and being blessed, which I highly recommend that you read Matthew 5, the Beatitudes is what they're called. Read those so you'll know what blessed is and all of those things. Requirements are something.
Yeah, and Michaela said a couple of times in there, we heard manage.
Mm-hmm.
And it requires you to manage what is given to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's not easy.
No.
Requirements aren't easy. I think that we've talked about it even as from the Christian standpoint, and maybe even marriage standpoints, parenting standpoints, on the job standpoints. Sometimes when we enter into what we're going to, and that's true for me as a Christian, I really did not know what some of the requirements. I was like, well,
That's why a lot of people walk away from the faith.
Military.
For real.
Military.
Yeah.
You know, you have different avenues that you're in, but you don't know until you're in.
Right.
Oh, there's some extra stuff just besides I'm a mom,
And it
I'm a
changes
dad,
all the time.
and it
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah.
And this ain't
Yeah.
supposed to be this way. I had a numerous, especially men, that didn't want to be bothered with going to church and being a Christian and all of that because it didn't line up to what they thought it was supposed to be. That's why you have to read your blueprint, which is the Bible, that will tell you how these guys got down. It's an amazing thing. I really like the premise of people thinking that rich people people just didn't become rich. They were required to do something.
Yes.
They were required to do something. But when you receive and I mean the upside, the requirements, they become minuscule. They become real small because the initial work you put into it, you reap so much benefits. One of the things that you reap, you know, when you do give, is to see somebody else blessed.
Yes.
You see that. There is no better feeling in the world to be fulfilled and let you know that your life means something than to let somebody else know that their life means something also. Also, we've been given sight. Before we got saved, we were blind. We were given sight. And now our requirements is to go out here and unblind the blinded.
Yeah.
That is a requirement right
That's a
there.
requirement.
And go show people that are back in, he takes you and go put you, I've said this many times, put you right back in the darkness so you can show the love of Jesus Christ to these people. The requirement for him giving you new life and unblinding your blinded eyes is to go back out here and show somebody else. It's a beautiful thing. And you want to do that.
Hi, I'm Michaela, and we thank you so much for watching this video. As always, we thank you for your support, for subscribing, for sharing, liking, and commenting. We thank you, and we hope you keep watching. We also want to let you know that we are on Facebook, so make sure you follow us at the Hughes Roundtable. Again, that's the Hughes Roundtable on Facebook. Make sure you like our page. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.